Here we are in our hats.
I know, right?
We're fashionably uh, video ready, which I so have learned hanging out with you. So thank you so much for being here, Kim Somers Egelsee, and I'm Laura Jane, and we're so glad you're here.
Yes.
Kim, thank you. And yeah, I knew I wanted to bring you in for this conversation, really because, I mean, you've been such an influence on me. And I always like to remind people some of how I know you is so one of my first speaking engagements years ago was when I got to be in the Finding Me, Impacting We group with you of speakers. And I learned so much about being a speaker, and you even really helped me develop my writing life, right? Really helped me get into self-publishing, and have been a life coach of mine. I've been in your masterminds for years, and now you're a close friend of mine. So I'm just so thankful for all that influenced me and continue to support my growth.
Thank you. I feel, God, we're just so blessed because I do feel like you're one of my closest friends, and I've learned so much about parenting, and I feel like inner peace. Like I've learned so much about inner peace from you, and yoga, of course.
Mm.
Um, just all kinds of things. So I feel blessed as well. Thank you.
Yeah, and one of the things I feel like has been so exciting to be in on, and I guess we've both been doing this, like kind of really growing our sense of spirituality, right? And our finding our ways that we connect more and more, and then sharing that with others more and more, right? About how we can bring spirituality into our life, our personal development. And so I thank you for that, for being a leader in our community, sharing your continual growth, right? With your spiritual practices and sense of connection. Yeah. And
Right.
how, and I know like this year, you, like all of us, have had your deep, intense moments, right? That have brought more spirituality forward. How are you feeling currently with kind of your awareness of how our spirituality can really help us in these times, right?
Right. It's interesting. I mean, of course, it's no accident, but I get messages and visions and things like that. And this morning when I woke up and I was in kind of that half conscious state, like half asleep, I got this vision. I started feeling all this darkness, and it was yucky, and I was like, "Whoa, what is this?" And it felt really heavy and thick. And then I got this vision, and it was actually the world, like a 3D version of the world. The world is like 3D energy, and it showed the world just very, very dark and people divided. And then it showed God and divine above sending down light and sunshine, and they couldn't get through because there was so much dark and the people weren't allowing it. But then it showed all these lights, like light workers, helping the darkness to subside and
Mm.
expanding it to light and allowing that light from above in little by little. And so I feel like that's really how I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it as I've been told, and I'm seeing it as this is our wake up moment. And some people are not choosing to wake up, but those that are, it's going to lead to really magical things. But we have to believe and we have to allow. And sometimes that means standing aside and looking in at what's going on as the observer and taking in what learning there is. And sometimes you can't go in and give your opinion and try to help someone. You have to let them be on their path.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, being a lot more wise about how much we can shape other people's opinions and experiences,
Yeah.
and yeah, and I feel like part of what you always share is how like being happy and being willing to let it be about joy is so important. And I'm seeing at this moment how that could be our way of allowing in the light more, right? If that's what we feel like we could be wanting to do, if we think of ourselves or wanting to be like a light worker, helping bring that in and help penetrate that darkness, right? If it is like the universe, God, spirit is trying to, bring in this light, or there is this light, right? And so it shows me why that makes sense that you also share that as part of your lifestyle, right? Like making sure your joy is what's leading you, because that's really the way that we most bring that light, right? Like I
Mm-hmm.
that for the first time,
That's
really.
funny because my middle name is Joy, and then I have a reminder right here.
Uh,
But you know what? It's true. And it's interesting because someone that we interviewed on our podcast coming out, Talk Purpose and Truth, Rob Mack. You guys
Mm.
have to look him up. He's amazing. And he is a positive psychology expert, and he's a happiness expert. And he confirmed it. He said one of the top ways to make sure you have harmony and joy in your life is to schedule intentional happiness. Schedule it.
Mm.
Like make sure you're going, okay, what am I doing today that's going to make me happy? And you actually tell your mind, like, okay, well, I'm really busy today, so what is this meaning to me? Like, how can I add happiness and meaning to the things that I'm doing? Can I go outside today? Can I plan something this weekend? And it might, it might be something really simple, like go buy a tree and have a picnic. But what are things you can make sure to plan that are going to add happiness and joy? And realizing that that isn't selfish. I know, I think a lot of people are going, well, so many people are suffering and so many people have havoc and chaos going on, but we can only do so much. We have to raise our vibration. And so if we take care of ourselves and raise our vibration,
Mm.
then we have more energy to put the word out, to help others, to whatever, volunteer, give money, whatever you can do, write things to help others raise the vibration. But we have to do it for ourselves as well. So even
Mm.
us having fun, dancing around, whatever it may be, is going to raise the vibration of everywhere else.
Right. And yeah, I love that you are someone who really walks that talk. And I see that that's part of how you maintain your happiness, right? And your high vibe. And it just, at this moment, I can really see how building in the fun and the joy and really following that is a spiritual thing to do, right? Because it is the way really that we could be in that energy of bringing the light into the world, right? And it is through our own personal joy. And I love that you're such an influence like that too with our work and creative lives, that I feel like you really encourage people to be very intuitive about that and joy based, and not just using the formulas that works for everybody else, right? Or doing the shoulds in our work and create. You really encourage the people you work with, including me, to believe that we can let it be about what most turns us on, like what we're most currently excited, like your 100% exercise, right? That you
Yeah.
lead people through. Yeah. Do you want to talk more about that though? Like your awareness of why that's the thing to do, even in, and especially in things like work and creating and art and whatever we call it?
Yeah, well, Jim Carrey posted, and Carrey, and the other day, that someone rarely does well at something unless it's fun. And
Ah.
I agree with that, because you have to be doing things, I mean, you hopefully can be doing things that make you feel uplifted and alive and connected to your soul and connected to your heart. And I just found out a friend passed away, and she's actually very well known, Beth Meisner, Ivan, and God bless her, sending her love and light. But it shows you how damn short life is. She was only like 50 something, and have to, for our own selves and for humanity, we have to do things that make us feel on purpose and raise our vibration and make us feel love and joy. And so I think there's so many paradigms and belief systems out there that are like, oh, we must suffer, or we must do something that's hard, or that impresses others, or right now in the world, because of everything, we have to complain and feel sad all the time. And why not think, how can I break that paradigm and shift that paradigm, and actually do something I'm passionate about and be happy most of the time. Of course we're going to feel sad and cry and get frustrated and angry even. That's okay, but we don't want to stay there. And so I think I challenge those listening, if you're doing something that you feel mediocre about, how can you, maybe you can't stop right now, but how can you find ways to shift it so you're enjoying it? You
Mm.
know, how can you look at it with more meaning? I
Mm.
challenge you to look at it and go, okay, what is that doing for others? How is it helping the world? What ways can I put in some sort of harmony and meaning into what I'm doing? And I think that's important.
Mm. Wow. Yeah. And it really just makes sense. Again, if we're concerned about the world and we really want to be helping, and especially if we like to be in a spiritual mindset, right? Or awareness, that just makes sense as the way to live more and more, right? To believe that we can let it be about things like joy and fun and following that, especially in a time like more than ever, right now, if things are super intense in the world, it seems like more important than ever that we're honing in on this, right? And that like not there's less room for negligence. Do you feel like that's true, like for a lot of us, like that we're having to be even stronger maybe in our practices and such to not get
Yes.
rocked by
Yes, I think, and we have
intensity?
to reach out and help each other. Like, even if it's literally just like, okay, let me comment something nice to this person or tell someone on the phone, I'll be there for you. We have to check on each other. But yeah, we have to intentionally schedule things like yoga or deep breathing or like remind because and mantras and reading and whatever it may be, or if it's your way of having fun watching happy comedy shows or whatever that may be. I think it's important not to decide if something's bad or good based on what the articles say you should do or even what we're saying is important. I think it's more like what is uplifting me right now, and we need to be gentle on ourselves right now, in a way that we need more self-care time, we need more maybe sleep, we need more time where we're deep breathing or laughing. Because there's the most negativity I've ever seen. It's almost like I can't even believe it is a true thing. Like, you know what I mean? I think a lot of you probably feel like that.
Yes.
It's just chaos all around. But if you look for the good, if you go outside and you look for the butterflies and you look up at the sky and say, maybe I'll see a rainbow cloud today, or go for a walk, listen to music, you still can find the good. You can still focus on the good, and that will help a lot. But we do have to really intentionally do it and schedule it in, because I've noticed that even people who have done a lot of work on themselves and studied and are very spiritual and tuned in, it's still difficult. I have those days where I'm like, ugh, I'm feeling so weird and off today, and what is going on? Like, I feel so negative and depressed, and you have to shift yourself out of it.
Right. And I think you and I both have seen that maybe the more we get tuned into ourselves and even the energy of it all and how much we're feeling other people's energy, the world's energy, that it becomes even more important that we take care of our energy, right? Because we can definitely get like burdened with it in ways that's just where we don't feel like we can help, right? Just drag us down so much, right? That we get kind of stuck in it in a way that again that
Yeah,
we're
and I'm a big advocate. It does work, protect your energy, and that's through so many different ways you can be doing that. You can do energy clearing prayers or mantras. You can use crystals, which are really powerful. You can use salt bath, salt shower.
mm,
There's energy clear. Doris Moon, great ones. Uh, there's just so many different. Oh, go outside and ground, do yoga. There's so many ways to clear your energy, protect your energy. And I think, what I've learned over the years, and what I used to be kind of a victim of or guilty of or whatever, I was trying to always fix everyone. And I would take it on. Like, if somebody was struggling or depressed or whatever, I would be feeling that. And it made me, I guess it kind of made me feel like I'm helping or I'm giving back, and
hmm
made me maybe feel important, or not have to deal with my own stuff, right? Started. But can't do that. We can't afford to do that. And so you can feel sad, you can pray for somebody, you can be there for somebody if it feels right. But otherwise, sometimes we just have to bless people from afar and send them,
mm.
light and love and good vibes, because we only have so much energy for ourselves to stay afloat. Does that make
Mm.
sense?
Oh yeah, and I think I've really learned so much how much I really can't take care of how other people feel that much. And when I try to, it kind of can mess up the dynamics of a relationship, whether it's like my kids or a partner or a friend, right? So it's like we can care about how other people feel and we can see how we can practically support them, right? And reach out like you're so good at doing. But at the same time, know that still it's about taking care of ourselves and helping them learn and are just supporting them and taking care of themselves, right? Because we can only take care of feeling so much, right? Which is a sad but true truth for all of
Right.
us, I think. And yeah, so it's interesting how if we are really feeling the feelings and the experience of those around us more than ever, that more than ever the way that we can help them, right, is to do what we can do each day to be getting centered, aligned, connected, whatever we call it. And doing that energy work with ourselves, right? Like I think you and I really have gotten so we aware of that these last few years, right? Both of us, with
Yeah.
how much it's all energy, how much it's important that we're taking care of our energy and learning more and more ways to clear our energy. And yeah, so it's exciting to be aware of, but then we got to stay on top of it, right? Like I said, it's just because we're aware, if we're not doing anything to practice it, it's actually almost worse, right? Because we're
Yeah.
like, oh, oh, I know I could feel better, and I know. So yeah, we can
Yeah,
always
it's a
start
lot of
where we are, though.
self-awareness, being self-aware and constantly mindful and self-aware, which is a constant practice because you can lose sight of that. And then the day goes by and you go, wait, what did I even do today? So it's really important to practice being in the now and going, sometimes it does feel hyper aware because you're going, okay, this is what I'm doing right now. And this is what I'm doing right now. And this is what, but it teaches you. So it becomes just, a unconscious thing to where you are being self-aware.
Right, and then bringing in that more of a spiritual approach in that awareness, though, I think you and I both seen is to also then in that awareness be more loving with ourselves and kind with ourselves, maybe like that divine part of us would be. Boy, that's some interesting construction out there. But that's equally important to the awareness, right? Otherwise we can get really lost and burdened in our awareness, right, and our judgment of ourselves. It could become pretty dark, right, where it's painful to be aware. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and I think that's why a lot of people don't want to do the work because it's scary and hard,
right,
but it is worth it. It
right.
leads to a lot of freedom and feeling more joy and things like that. It's just hard work during the moments of working on yourself,
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And and something I feel like might be worth bringing up, because I love that you and I, because we got to do family yoga for some years, right, with your daughters who first four, and they were like 4 and what are their age differences? 4 and 8.
6 years apart. Yeah, now they're 8 and
Yeah,
15.
yeah. So we got to do those sessions, which I loved helping us like let the kids really bring us into their vibe, right? And like they
Yeah,
lead us through these wonderful things. So I'm thinking for a lot of us who might be spending more time with our kids right now, maybe we can enjoy kind of being in our kids like childlike vibe, right? And recognizing that that's an opportunity to be present with them and even like drop into activities they might suggest, right? Because we saw how much when we did that in our yoga, it would get us into a place that was so healing for us, right? To do more childlike things and to be letting our kids kind of influence us more, right? And bring us
yeah.
their pure vibe.
Yeah, yeah, it's taught them. I mean, them doing yoga with you has taught them because you would allow them to lead a lot. So they developed leadership skills, confidence,
Yeah,
spirituality. I mean, I'll give you a funny, cute example. Yesterday, it'll help everybody listening too. Okay,
exactly.
so everybody go buy on Amazon. You can buy it. Clear crystal quartz.
Mm,
And you seriously can get like 20 beautiful little stones for $15.
mm,
And they're like little pointed stones, but it's one of the most powerful energy clearing
mm.
crystals out there. And so I told Nia, I said, I've been learning more about crystals to use in my coaching and readings and stuff. And so we learned this technique where you hold a crystal in each hand and then you place on your like stomach or chest in a star formation.
Ooh.
If the crystal points are pointing towards your heart, it will energize you. If
Ah,
the crystal points are pointing away from your heart in the star formation, it'll relax you. So
oh.
her and I did it. You only have to lay there like that for 5 minutes. So we did it yesterday. She's 8. So we were laying on our yoga mats and we have the crystals on us and we're closed eyes. And Nia goes, Mom, most kids my age don't do things like this. And I go, Well, you're a deep kid. And she goes, Well, I have a deep mom. And
Ah,
I'm like, Oh my God. So then she goes, I do feel more energy. And then she says, Oh my gosh, Mom, my one of my crystals just lit up yellow and then it went away. Does that mean I saw an angel? And I said, Yeah. And she goes, Wow. And I just thought, that's amazing for an 8-year old already to have that kind of wisdom. And then it's so funny because last night she just knows because last night I ate something bad and she had this feeling I shouldn't eat it and I ignored her. And then I woke up feeling yucky. And
yes.
she thought, I told you, Mom, last night. I told you and you didn't listen to me.
Right, right. Yeah, it's part of helping our kids be more intuitive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I love that.
So
It's
I think it's important,
about
for
that.
those of you staying home and you have your kids, um, ask, talk to them with so much respect that you value their opinions. Like last night, I just went in their room before bed, and I do this every once in a while, and I said, in your life, what has been the most sad or tragic thing that's happened, and what has been the most happiest, and what do you believe strongly, things like that. And they're like, they love being asked stuff like that, because then they feel valued, and we can learn from them.
Wow. And I love that that really helps our kids think for themselves, because that's something that sometimes traditional parenting kind of doesn't encourage kids to think for themselves. So that really, that kind of like line of questioning in the home and on a deeper level too, like more existential. Yeah.
Hmm.
I wanted to say too, what I feel like with what you are teaching, Nia, with the rituals you're playing with, right, with the crystals, and I believe, because if some people might feel like, well, I don't know if I believe that's true. I believe that whatever we believe is true, right? So just even setting your intentions, like I've decided this is going to do this for me, like I believe that's how the mind works, right? So I
Right.
love turning on our kids to those possibilities, right? And then that they're gonna just get creative like she did, and more stuff happened, and then that she can keep deciding what she feels like it means. So
Hmm.
it's so exciting to share our practices with our kids, right? And then to even let them give us ideas, right?
Right.
Like in fact, the other day I was doing the heart opening run. Remember that Nia would lead us through, or she would
Yeah.
have us run with our arms back, and I'm like, this is a good move for us. Like I like run
Yeah.
together doing. So it's amazing. And I know you and I are such big users of music, right?
Hmm.
And dance. And I love the awareness that that really is such vibrational work, right? And that it raises the vibe so much to use music. And I know you've had a lot of a special awareness with that, with your
Hmm.
connection with Prince and such. So do you want to talk a little about that at all? Music and your awareness of how it works for us and some of the
Yeah,
magic.
I mean, music is it's the same thing we've been talking about with vibration. So music has vibration, and everybody's different. So like my husband, it fuels him in the morning to put on really crazy hard rock screaming music, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I can't." Like that, and not that I don't like it, but I just
Yeah.
can't in the morning.
Yeah.
Uh, I like calm, like chill. But it's just vibration. So that's one of the biggest ways you can raise your vibration. Have music on all day in the house, whatever you need to do to just raise your vibration. And I think
Mm.
that music is so healing. I taught special ed for quite a while, and in the classroom, I don't think there was ever even 1 minute I didn't have music on, because it really calmed everyone in the room, and it reduced behavior issues.
Mm.
So I am so big on music, and we actually music is so important to me that when this shutdown happened, we were like, oh no, oh my god, concerts. We literally go to like 2 to 4 concerts a month, and since God, in the last just 2 months, we've already been to 8 drive-in concerts in 2 months, and so we've just gotten creative, found where they are, gone to them, spaced apart safely,
Yeah.
dancing,
Yeah.
listening to music. So I mean, we just have to get creative and find ways to still do the things we love to do.
Yeah. And do you, because I love that live music has its own special magic to it, right? And I was just going to ask you about that with your awareness of how important it's been in your life and then not having it. Do you have any new awarenesses of why for you that's something that's so important to build in, to get out and actually be near these musicians, right? And I mean, do you have any new levels of awareness with that
Yeah,
in
I mean, there
active?
was quite for me, it was maybe, I think I went 8 months without going to any for a while, because they didn't have anything for a while.
Mm,
And so I think what it is that when you're able to activate all your senses, and it's kind of
mm,
like your meditation walks you talk about, your nature walks, and where you say, what can I see here and all that. When you're seeing a live concert, you're seeing it, you're hearing it, you're listening to the
mm,
lyrics and taking it
mm,
in, which is actually like another version of auditory digital.
mm,
You have smells and touches, and I mean, it's just you feel the vibration, you activate just so many of your chakras opening, I think.
mm,
So I think that, besides just, I think it's about the
mm.
feeling you get. Yeah.
Right, and that it really brings you so present, right? You really get, makes it that much easier to be in the moment, in our bodies, and that has its own healing elements. So Yeah.
Right, and I think
Of
it's
that.
beautiful to watch people in their own self-expressions.
Mm, mm,
And that's another thing, like the more you work on yourself and just get to know you, you don't have emotions anymore like, oh, I'm sad that I don't have what they have, or jealousy or not enough or any of those things. You just accept you for you. So you, a lot of times people will go to things like that and go, oh, well, she didn't sound good, or she looks annoying, or I wish I had that. And instead you're just purely enjoying it and happy for the people on stage.
Wow, that makes sense. That the more we're allowing ourselves to be in our joy like that, that the more that around other people in it, it doesn't trigger us or
Right, right. And you're just happy for
like
people.
we're
Yeah,
vibing up with.
and I love to just be so excited for everybody, whatever their journey is.
Yeah. But I agree that that's one of the things I love about live music is that feeling like you're seeing people doing what they love often, right? And there's a vibration to that, right? Too.
Yeah.
And I guess
Yeah,
that's the
and
same
it saves
you're
people. I
listening to.
mean, self-expression is so important. It saves people. They would talk about, there's a lot of musicians now and that have passed, like Prince, that was his savior. Like he probably would have crumbled if he didn't have his writing and his instruments and his music, because that was the only time he'd ever really feel
Mm,
pure and connected and complete, and not not in disarray or depression or whatever. And so I think that it is a saving grace for so many people. And so that's why I think right now, if you're feeling stressed, or fearful or depressed or any of those feelings, of course, if you need help, get help or talk to someone, but also just find ways of self-expression. It might be even just posts on social media, or starting to color, anything like that. That reminds me of you one time, Laura Jane, when you said, God, I just feel like we need to bring out the crayons and color more and get out our inner child. And then I did a card reading for you, and the actual card said, "Get out your crayons and color." We're like, "Oh my god!"
yes, we've had so many magical
I
moments.
know.
That's what's
So
so
yeah.
about getting in community with our spirituality too, I guess. And we are maybe towards our last few minutes, but that's something you're so great at is creating community. And anytime you plan something, it fills up with ease. And you facilitated how many masterminds over the last 10 years, right, of groups. And but that was always so magical, was sharing the things like the card readings, right, and to be in on each other's journey and that mastermind effect, right, that can be so
Hmm.
helpful for us. um, do you want to share anything about your awareness of the importance of that, to make sure we have that element in our lives if we can, that like mastermind community?
Yeah, I mean, right now I feel I've seen a lot of mixed things where some people, do have their few people they see in person safely. And some people have those people they can talk to. But I've also seen a lot of people that feel alone and feel like they don't have that. And so I really suggest that it could be as simple as finding one Facebook group that you really resonate with and just start getting involved on it. Like start commenting, start meeting people on there. I mean, even if you meet someone virtual and know them for 3 years virtually and one day meet or whatever, it
Hmm.
doesn't matter. You're still, your mind and your senses still process it as a connection. Process it. Um, its connection is so vital. Um, I recommend right now, it's really hard unless you do it via virtual or Zoom, but join something that it is, even if it's just once every 2 weeks, something where you can be in contact with people. The Imperfectly Perfect campaign, which I know Laura Jane's done some work with as well. You can look them up on Instagram, Facebook. It's called the Imperfectly Perfect campaign. But they're going to be starting again having these virtual hangouts once or twice a month, and people
Mm-hmm.
from all over the world join on Zoom and they talk about stuff. It's amazing. So I would recommend just anything like that. You need it. It actually just raises everything in you to have that connection. So I highly recommend that.
That seems like important to right now, especially most of us have had a lot less community and connection this year, right? I mean, if
Hmm.
not all of us, I assume. So to be aware that that's been hard on us, and if we've been feeling out of sorts, that to add more community like that and even online community could really make a difference right now.
Right. And if you could just find someone, I recommend try to find someone, just one person that
Mm-hmm.
you can have even text messages every single day, even if it's just 5 minutes a day.
Mm-hmm.
It's so huge. It's huge right now. We really need it. I mean, I need it. So, yeah.
So true. And that's what's so beautiful about how we can impact each other, even in the simplest moments amongst us. So yeah,
Yeah.
important more than ever. Wow. Well, that beautifully brings us to the end of 30 minutes. But is there anything that you'd like to add at this point before we would close up shop?
That was amazing. Yeah, I think that it what sticks in my mind and kind of goes back with what we talked about earlier is
Mm,
today I watched a little quick video from Rob Mack. If you go to Instagram, just Rob Mack,
mm,
he talked about when there's the immense darkness everywhere and you just have one little small candle, nothing can burn out that flame of that candle. And so the candle's going to stay bright, even if
mm,
it's dark everywhere. And
mm,
so he said, remember that as a person, just trying to find ways to be the light is
mm,
going to help you. You don't even know how many it's going to help. Every little thing you do that brings light is going to help clear
mm.
out this darkness. So I just want everybody to remember that and don't give up.
Yes, I love that. And to remember, like, think of ourselves as that candle, and that's what like our self-care and spirituality can be about, like taking care of that.
Right, exactly.
Mm. Oh, thank you
This
so
has
much.
been awesome.
So
Yeah.
fun.
I feel like we're hanging out. We talk like this anyway, hanging out.
Right.
So,
That's how the started. It's like I want
right.
to be sharing these conversations that I'm having. So thank you so much, Kim. And what are some good ways for people to find you if they're watching this on YouTube later or places like that? What
Yeah,
are some?
yeah. Well, on Facebook, you can obviously see Kim Somers
Mm,
Egelsee. On Instagram, it's Kim Life Coach. And then my podcast is Talk, Purpose, and Truth. And it's on every single platform.
yeah, yeah. It's been exciting to watch the growth of too. So, woo. Wow. Well, thank you so much. That was beautiful, and I knew it would be. So I appreciate your
Yes,
time,
thank you so much, too.
and thank you all for being here. I hope
Yeah, thank you.
were
Bye,
helpful,
everybody.
fuel you at this time. Thanks for being here, y'all. Namaste.